I'm sure you've noticed recently the reemergence of a story of one of our founding fathers in America. His name was Alexander Hamilton, and of course, it's a Broadway hit, his musical Hamilton. I realized before I saw the musical, I wanted to read the biography. It's a biography written by Ron Chernow that inspired the musical itself. And it's a thick book, as you can see. As I read through this book, I learned a lot about our history, but I realized that this author wrote a book that then was sent to a publishing house that went through a series of edits and looking at the background to make sure that it was telling a true story, a chronological story, that it was fact-checked and there were sources behind it. And as I think about a story like that, I get to thinking about another story that's shaped my life, a story that maybe some of you know and maybe newer to some of you. It's the story of the Bible. It's the best-selling book of all time. The first time I got this Bible, I realized that I had expectations of this book. Expectations like, I guess, the Hamilton biography, that it would be fact-checked, that it would have sources behind it, that somebody would make sure that it was put in the right hands and told in the right way, that it was accurate. I began to realize as I studied this more how much in depth this story goes, how many stories there are inside of it. In fact, I realized that this is more than just a book. It's a library of books. It's like 66 books that tell the story of God as people try to tell the story and figure out who He is and answer some of life's deepest questions. There's over 40 authors who wrote this book, written in 3 different languages, over 1,500 years. Yes, inspired by the Holy Spirit of God in some mysterious and miraculous way. It tells a unified narrative, but it also tells that story with different ways of looking at things. A lot of us have questions about this book, if it can be trusted and what it means that it's inspired and how we read it in light of Jesus and the new covenant that He brings. Over the next 7 weeks at Greenville Oaks Church, we're going to look more into this book. We're going to discover together what it looks like. We want to invite you with whatever questions you may bring, with whatever knowledge you may have, if you're new to it or if you've been studying it for generations in your family or since you were born. We invite you to rediscover this book where God still speaks as we go back to the Bible.